You believe you are the architect of your own life. But before you made a single conscious choice, before you formed a single memory, a silent variable was already writing your baseline. The exact month you were born was hardwiring your brain, calibrating your immune system, setting your emotional floor, and quietly calculating your odds of reaching old age. This isn't astrology. This isn't folklore. This is epidemiology, neuroscience, developmental biology, three rigorous fields converging on one uncomfortable truth. The season of your birth leaves a biological fingerprint that follows you into the grave. Researchers at Columbia University audited the medical records of over 1.7 million people. They identified 55 distinct diseases with statistically rigid correlations to birth months. Harvard studies confirmed that children born in specific windows display measurably different trajectories in brain development. Meanwhile, a massive European study tracking 500,000 lives discovered that the month you were born correlates with lifespan variations of up to 10 months. 10 months, stolen or gifted, by a variable you never chose. The question in the scientific community is no longer whether your birth month matters. The question is what it set in motion and what that means for the specific body and mind you are operating right now. In the following breakdown, we are going to audit the entire calendar, the empirical advantages, the biological vulnerabilities. By the end, you will possess a razor-sharp picture of the biological hand you were dealt before you could even speak. Let's begin. January. You arrived at the absolute floor of the solar cycle. During your mother's third trimester, her vitamin D levels were at their annual deficit. Sunlight was scarce. The environment was artificially heated and enclosed. This wasn't merely an atmospheric condition, it was a biochemical one, and researchers have now mapped that specific prenatal environment to measurable outcomes that persist for decades. January babies demonstrate statistically higher rates of cardiovascular vulnerabilities in later life. The Columbia data specifically isolated elevated risks for hypertension and atrial fibrillation. These are not marginal anomalies, they are consistent patterns across global populations. But biology requires balance. January births are heavily overrepresented in CEO positions and senior leadership roles across multiple career trajectory studies. The mechanism driving this isn't genetic superiority. It is the invisible architecture of timing. In educational systems governed by January cutoffs, you were consistently the oldest in your room. You carried up to 11 months of additional cognitive and physical development over your youngest peers during the exact years when those gaps dictate social hierarchy. That early edge compounded, quietly, across a decade of formative experiences. You entered the world biologically stressed, but you entered the social system with undeniable, invisible seniority. February, the winter pattern holds, but the conception window shifts. February babies were conceived in late spring, a period when maternal stress hormones are biologically driven downward and dietary diversity expands after winter's contraction. The data on February births reveals a striking physical resilience. They display some of the lowest baseline rates of thyroid and pancreatic cancers. Furthermore, European longevity data places February births at the higher end of the lifespan distribution, but there is a neurological toll extracted for that longevity. February births carry statistically elevated rates of seasonal affective disorder. Your circadian rhythm was forged during the darkest weeks of the year. That baseline sensitivity to light deprivation does not vanish. It persists into adulthood. It is not necessarily a weakness but a biological tuning. Your internal clock was calibrated to scarcity. When winter light fades, your nervous system registers the absence, more acutely than the rest of the population, a long life, but a complex relationship with the dark. March. You were born into the collision of seasons. Daylight was expanding rapidly. Maternal melatonin production was shifting in real time. The neurochemical environment of your first days was one of chaotic emergence, everything changing direction simultaneously. March babies carry elevated rates of respiratory conditions, specifically asthma. The prevailing scientific consensus is immunological. You collided with peak pollen seasons during your most vulnerable developmental window, exactly when your immune system was deciding what to attack and what to tolerate. That critical learning phase, flooded with maximum allergen exposure, established inflammatory pathways that can last a lifetime. Yet, the psychological data runs entirely counter to the physical vulnerability. March births correlate with significantly lower rates of non-seasonal depression. The working hypothesis your serotonin baseline was established during a period of rapidly lengthening days. That early programming forged a more stable emotional floor. You possess a neurological resilience to the ordinary weight of life that others have to actively work to maintain. April, full spring. Vitamin D levels surging, environmental exposure increasing. In many ways, April represents the most nutritionally and environmentally complete prenatal window of the year. The cardiovascular data mirrors this perfection. April babies boast some of the lowest rates of heart disease across the entire human lifespan. That protective cardiovascular effect is persistent, measurable, and highly consistent across multiple independent studies. The penalty, however, appears in the physical hierarchy. April births are statistically ghosted in professional athletics. In youth sports systems structured around traditional calendar cutoffs, you are perpetually the youngest. You competed against peers harboring nearly a year of additional physical maturity during the exact window when coaches finalize selections. You did not lack talent, you lacked talent. You were disadvantaged by a system that routinely mistakes developmental maturity for raw ability. Do not dismiss this as trivial. Early experiences in competitive arenas do not just dictate athletic outcomes, they permanently wire your self-concept. May and June, these months constitute the summer birth cluster. You were born at the absolute peak of vitamin D synthesis, maximum maternal sunlight exposure, and the highest point of nutritional abundance in traditional food systems. May babies carry a heavy paradox. They exhibit notably elevated rates of multiple sclerosis in later life, a correlation that has frustrated researchers for decades without a fully resolved mechanical explanation. The leading theory points to the precise timing of vitamin D exposure and immune system programming during fetal development, though the exact pathway remains shadowed. June births share a fraction of that neurological risk, but they also carry a psychological signature the data cannot ignore, a measurably elevated baseline on optimism scales. The logic is brutally simple. Your earliest neurological impressions were formed during the longest, warmest days of the year. That external environment calibrated your default emotional expectations toward abundance, rather than contraction. The correlation holds firm. July and August, peak summer, maximum thermal and solar intensity. Your developmental systems were calibrated inside an environment of extreme richness. July babies register the lowest rates of ADHD diagnoses in childhood. The science points toward prenatal melatonin timing and the pristine quality of the fetal light-dark cycle during the third trimester. Attention regulation systems are fine-tuned during stable light cycling. July bursts represent the ultimate biological window for that precise calibration. August is where the psychological gravity becomes undeniable. August babies are frequently the youngest in their academic cohorts. They carry the maximum relative age disadvantage. The research is clear. This correlates with slightly depressed university attendance rates, not because of a deficit in intelligence, because of a deficit in compounding confidence. You were evaluated against peers who were biologically ahead of you, and in many systems you were structurally selected against. But the data conceals a crucial secondary finding. August babies who survive that gauntlet and reach higher education display formidable resilience markers. The mechanism is exactly what you would assume. You were forced to compete upward from the day you entered the system. You learn to fight from a deficit. That is a massive psychological weapon to carry into adulthood. September. You were conceived in the dead of winter, arriving just as daylight contracted and temperatures plummeted toward autumn. The longevity data on September births is arguably the most disruptive in this entire field of study. UK Biobank analysis confirmed that September births live, on average, 215 days longer than those born in March. The mechanisms are deeply layered. Prenatal nutrition peaked during your summer gestation. Your birth timing bypassed both the peak winter illness season and the thermal stress of a summer delivery. Your immune system began its education inside a moderate microbial window, neither overwhelmed by viruses nor deprived of necessary exposure. September also correlates with suppressed rates of childhood developmental disorders. Your neurological foundation was poured inside a biological Goldilocks zone. October. The advantages of autumn compound here. October babies display the lowest rates of cardiovascular disease in the Columbia study, the absolute lowest among all 12 months. Your prenatal environment fused the nutritional zenith of summer with the stable climate of early autumn. That precise combination engineers a cardiovascular system built to endure. There is also a psychological dimension that surveys repeatedly surface. October births demonstrate elevated rates of a longevity mindset, a subconscious orientation towards cycles, preparation, and the long view. Your early life was framed by abundance gradually transitioning into contraction. That environmental rhythm encoded a deep psychological awareness of seasons, transition, and the absolute necessity of building reserves. November. Darkness was expanding. Maternal vitamin D was collapsing. The physical world was closing in. November babies show elevated rates of chronic bronchitis and severe respiratory conditions. Your lungs met the world during peak virus season, trapped inside heated buildings, processing recirculated winter air. That was your introductory curriculum in immunity. But November's cognitive data flips the narrative entirely. Multiple massive studies confirm November births score consistently higher on intelligence and cognitive assessments. The hypothesis relies on two converging factors: peak prenatal nutrition during summer, combined with birth timing that perfectly aligned your developmental maturity with standard academic calendars. You walked into the school system with a level of cognitive readiness that demanded reinforcement. Respiratory challenge at birth, cognitive dominance in the classroom. November is a study in extremes. December, the absolute floor of winter, peak vitamin D deficiency. During late-stage fetal development, December babies exhibit heavy rates of seasonal affective disorder mirroring February, driven by the exact same mechanisms. Your mood regulation circuitry was programmed against a canvas of maximum darkness. That sensitivity is not a placebo. It is a measurable, biological reality. Yet, here is the paradox that longevity researchers cannot look away from. December births demonstrate highly elevated rates of centenarian survival. According to the empirical data, you are simultaneously highly vulnerable to seasonal depression and mathematically more likely to live past 100 than almost anyone else. The mechanism is adaptive stress response programming. Early biological challenge, provided it does not break the infant system, forges resilience templates that compound over decades. December is the ultimate proof of this principle. These patterns are not your destiny, they are your probability shifts. Imagine your birth month as an invisible hand that adjusted certain sliders on your biological control panel before you had the agency to stop it. The sliders are real, their current positions are measurable, but they are not locked. If you are a January baby harboring cardiovascular risk factors, you are not condemned. You are informed. You now know to treat heart health as a non-negotiable priority a decade earlier than someone born in October. If you are an August baby who spent your childhood feeling perpetually behind, you finally have an accurate diagnosis. It was never a lack of ability. It was an illusion of timing. That single reframe has the power to dismantle decades of false self-perception. Knowledge converts biological vulnerability into tactical strategy. The mechanisms clarify with every new research cycle. Prenatal vitamin D dictates hundreds of developmental pathways. Maternal stress hormones cross the placental barrier and physically alter fetal brain wiring. Early immune exposure dictates lifelong inflammatory responses. But there is a secondary layer operating entirely outside of your biology. Relative age effects in our social systems engineer cascading advantages and brutal disadvantages. Being the oldest or youngest in your cohort shaped your confidence, dictated your opportunities, and forged your identity across your most formative years. Your birth month did not just build your body, it dropped you into a social hierarchy that judged you based on biological timing. You cannot alter when you arrived, but you can stop operating blind. First, isolate your birth month's primary risk factors. Do not use this data to generate anxiety. Use it to generate priority. If your month flags cardiovascular risk, your heart health becomes an uncompromising daily standard. If your risk is respiratory, you engineer your environment for optimal air quality. If seasonal depression is your statistical baseline, you architect your light exposure long before winter sets in. Second, weaponize your advantages. Treat them as biological assets to deploy, not random accidents to ignore. If your data points to longevity, aggressively compound your health practices. If cognitive advantages sit in your baseline, force yourself into arenas that reward deep, analytical endurance. Third, audit your early self-concept. If you were always the youngest, recognize the invisible friction that held you back, and discard the false narrative that you were less capable. If you were the oldest, acknowledge the hidden tailwind that propelled you. Your birth month is not random noise in your biology. It is the measurable variable that shaped your development. In the dark, every month carries profound advantages. Every month carries quiet vulnerabilities. The objective is not to wish for a different starting line. The objective is to extract maximum leverage from the hand you were dealt, while surgically neutralizing the risks. Science has handed you the topographical map of your biological landscape. Your birth month set the stage. Now, you direct the performance.